first, I decided it's kind of a no-brainer. We know what the earth strips do, but, you know, Rick sent me these sandpapery things. And I went, yeah, really? And so I decided to do a study. And so essentially my baseline was, so I guess I need to say each baseline is a 10-minute capture with just a few exceptions, and when those exceptions, I'll mention it. And so I did a baseline 10-minute reading of the field, had a lot of computer activity in my room, and then I put one large earth strip on the back of my iMac and another large one on the back of my iPad, which is almost always with me, and then I measured the effects of the strips at 10-minute intervals. And essentially, everything improved as we could hope that it would, but it improved in some interesting ways. So the first parameter is area. And so again, when there's a lot of noise and random scatter, the area is going to be really big, really high. And again, that would be this bigger box as opposed to this smaller box here. And what we found, what I found, I'm only one of me, is that the area decreased significantly right away. I was really blown away. It just went thump. And then it kept decreasing even 20 minutes later. So the effects were stable, and they just kept going. And essentially what that's showing me is that the EMF was neutralized, because EMF is a lot of just junk going around. And then as soon as I put that on, that junk kind of cleared out. The field became much more coherent and focused. So you can see, this is baseline. Area is pretty high. And I put, this was, and then I put the earth strips on, and this was immediately following putting them on. Immediately, so the first 10 minutes started probably about half a minute after applying them. And so that area really drops. 20 minutes later, 20 to 30 minutes later, it's continuing to drop. And I ran out of time, but my guess is if I just kept doing this, you would see that it just keeps dropping and dropping. It's really pretty cool. Total intensity, beautiful life force. Well, initially, there wasn't a whole lot of life force present in my room, which, you know, makes sense. There's a lot of EMF activity, so not really a whole lot life force present. But again, immediately that life force really increased. It became brighter, stronger. And you can see that. Initial, right down here, immediately after putting those earth strips on, it just like leapt up and then kept leaping. It was pretty wonderful. So the energy felt clear. I mean, I'm sensitive to energy, and I was really going, wow, I can breathe in this room now. It really felt great. And then entropy. Well, with high EMF activity, you're going to expect that there's going to be high entropy. There's a lot going on in that room. And that's what we do find in the baseline, and then it diminishes again as soon as I put the earth strips on. And so, right, it diminished a little bit, but still it diminished in that first 10 minutes after putting it on, because the effects are still settling into the field, but then it really dropped 20 to 30 minutes later. Again, it made the field much more coherent. When entropy is low, it means it's less susceptible to change, which means that even if I brought a cell phone into the room, or I have one computer that I didn't put earth strips on, that's not going to really make much of a difference, because the entropy has gotten so much lower, it's really resistant to change from outside influences. Right? That field has become a lot more stable. Form coefficient. Well, what we see is that the spatial field becomes more active. The more active it is, the less likely it is to hold any of that negative EMF information. And again, it started to creep up there, you know, the first 10 minutes following, but it was still rising by the time I finished the study. So that's really also, it's great. You know, I never know what I'm going to find when I start one of these studies. And it's always fun to find something that I don't expect, but it's even more fun to find something that demonstrates so perfectly, point on, what the product's supposed to do. I mean, that really blows my mind. Okay, so by golly, they do what it's supposed to do. They brighten and clarify the energy. I love it.